Welcome to Mr. Chalk's Revision Tips. In this video, we will look at
the carbon cycle, photosynthesis and respiration. So the carbon cycle is a process in which carbon travels from the atmosphere into organisms and the earth, then back into the atmosphere. So carbon dioxide is removed from the environment by green plants and algae during photosynthesis. The carbon from the carbon dioxide is used to make carbohydrates, fats and proteins, which make up the body of plants and algae. When green plants and algae respire, some of the carbon becomes carbon dioxide and is released back into the atmosphere. So when green plants and algae are eaten by animals, these animals are eaten by other animals. Some of the carbon becomes part of the animal and parts of their fats and makes up the animal's bodies. When the animals, however, respire, some of that carbon is released back into the atmosphere as carbon dioxide. When plants, algae and animals die, some of the animals and, some other animals and microorganisms feed on their bodies. So carbon is released back into the atmosphere as carbon dioxide when these organisms respire. So by the time the microorganisms and detritus feeders have broken down the waste products and dead bodies of organisms in the ecosystems and cycled the materials as plant nutrients, all the energy originally absorbed by the plants and algae has been transferred. Combustion of wood and fossil fuels also release carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. So if we look at this diagram, a diagram like this very much goes and summarizes what the carbon cycle is. So we can see that we've got atmospheric carbon dioxide, which is taken in by plants during photosynthesis. Those plants are eaten by animals. The animals respire and release carbon dioxide back into the atmosphere. They can also go and excrete feces, which is then broken down by decomposers. Both the plants and animals can die, and then their dead bodies will also be broken down by decomposers. The decomposers, as they're living, respire and release carbon dioxide back into the atmosphere. Some of these dead plants and dead animals can turn into fossil fuels, which can later be burnt, which releases the trapped carbon dioxide back into the atmosphere. So if we're looking at how carbon dioxide is removed from there, it's by photosynthesis. If we're looking at what role is played by decomposers, decomposers are breaking down dead bodies and of organisms. How do animals release carbon dioxide into the air? It's by respiration. How are fossil fuels formed and from what? Right, fossil fuels are formed from dead organisms that get trapped under the ground for millions of years and eventually turn into coal, oil and gas. And how does burning fossil fuels release the carbon dioxide back into the atmosphere? It's by the process of combustion, and combustion goes and turns our trapped hydrocarbons back into water vapour and carbon dioxide. So if we have a look at a question, so each autumn many trees lose their leaves. Describe how the carbon compounds in these leaves can be recycled so that they can be used again by trees. Some of the key things to talk about are that microorganisms or bacteria will go and digest or decompose the dead organic matter. Remember, we're saying they're decaying. As they're decaying, they use enzymes, which will allow them to absorb some of the nutrients by diffusion. However, as they're doing that, they're respiring, and during respiration, they will go and release carbon dioxide back into the atmosphere. If we look at just the second question, so the carbon in dead bean plants is returned to the atmosphere via the carbon cycle. Describe this part of the carbon cycle. So as before, we need to talk about microorganisms, we need to talk about decay, respiration, and the fact that respiration releases carbon dioxide back into the atmosphere. And if we're naming the different chemical processes that can either remove or put carbon dioxide back into the atmosphere, the important ones to talk about are respiration, photosynthesis, fermentation and combustion.
Thanks for watching.